Hi guys, it's Elena and I'm enchanted to have you be here on my channel. Hello and welcome. I'm glad you're here. If you're new, consider liking, subscribing, becoming part of my little YouTube family. We have tons of magical fun here, and if you've been here before, hello and welcome back. I'm super excited to do this video. Kind of been collecting a couple thrift shop goodies over the past couple of weeks because you don't always find the right stuff or like interesting stuff every time you go to a thrift store. So this has been a curation over a couple of weeks, and I figured I can kind of show you what kind of thrift flips I do, or how I turn regular seeming objects into something witchy and magical that could be used for your practice for a very, very low cost. So first of all, I found this gorgeous tinted glass jar, and the glass of this is super heavy, so I definitely think this is an older type of bottle. The glass seems to be a lot thicker and sturdier quality than the glasses normally today, and I loved the cork top that it had, and the little designs and details on the top and the bottom of it kind of give it an old-fashioned feel. I just really like the look of that bottle, and especially since it's not just plain clear and it's tinted. I don't know, I just fell in love with it. So I figured that bottle would make a great moon water storage or moon water type of bottle. First of all, it's slightly tinted, which will help preserve it a little bit longer, and second of all, it's just so big and upright, so it won't take up as much space in my witchy closet, I suppose. And second of all, I can change it up a little bit just to give it a little bit more of a witchier aesthetic. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm kind of creating circle templates that I can make a moon phases design on that flatter surface of the bottle, and I'm going to go in with a hand Dremel and kind of etch it out. That way if I'm dealing with water, I don't have to worry about it getting wet or getting damaged or the paint coming off or anything like that. So I really like to use the Dremels and etchings on glass things if they're going to be dealt with water. And I'm just trying to create the perfect moon templates so that I don't have to exactly draw them out by hand. Alright, so on today's video, I'm also going to be announcing the winner for my 1,000 subscriber for my 1,000 subscriber giveaway. A little bit of a round of applause. Yay! I am super excited. I reached that little milestone in my YouTube hobby. I suppose that's the word for it. And I want to congratulate Andromeda. I think Andromeda, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Andromeda Nightshade is her YouTube account, and I know her name is Ashley. We're actually pen pals, and I'm really excited that you won. So go ahead, contact me through Instagram, and we can decide which subscription box you're going to get. Yay! I'm really excited for you. I am thrilled, and I'm looking forward to you doing unboxings of those subscription boxes. Alright, now since that portion is kind of settled and the excitement is a little over with, and hopefully nobody's too disappointed, I want to say thank you to everybody who's participated, and I want to say thank you to everybody who's subscribed, who's commenting. You guys are amazing. You bring so much joy to my little heart and my day when I see your comments and likes and things like that. It just keeps me going, and I love it. I love creating for you, and I love you guys. So thank you so much. My next big giveaway will be at 2,500 subscribers, unless I come up with something else fun and exciting before then. So on to, I suppose, continuing with my little thrift flip video. After I did the outline of those moons, I get to take off the little paper and the outline stays. So I'm going to continue using that Dremel to kind of fill in the moon, give it a little bit more opaqueness, I suppose. And I also like it that it ends up being kind of like an off-whitish color or like a lighter gray color, so it slightly stands out from the greenish bottle, and I think it's gonna look really cute, hopefully, fingers crossed. This process takes a while, and I don't want to put in too much pressure because I want the etching to be sort of even, so I'm just taking my time and, well, highlighting or filling in the little etchiness of the little moon, and that's how it comes out, and I'm super excited. And now on to do the other 3 sides. All of the supplies that I'm going to be using to kind of do a flip, I'm going to put the links down below in the description. They're going to be Amazon affiliate links, and, well, tag me in any of your creations if this kind of inspired you to redo something or thrift flip something, or even take something ordinary at home and give it a little bit more of a witchy vibe. So continuing on with the rest of the moons, it's definitely a tedious process, but as you will see, the result is so worth it. And I just love how this bottle automatically became like specifically for moon water. I feel when you're crafting something or creating or recreating and you're taking your time, taking your energies and putting it into the item, it gives it so much more power, so much more magic, and just so much more abilities to kind of do what your intent is. So here's a tip for you guys. If you're going to be recreating something or thrift flipping or kind of designing something for a specific use, hold that intent kind of in your mind, or you can even write it on a piece of paper and put it under like your desk mat while you're working on the item on top of it, so that it kind of gets filled with that intention and gets a little bit more power, a little bit more oomph to kind of keep up with the reason of why you're going to be using that object. So here are the sides. I'm also going to be adding in quartz and opal alongside the top. I'm going to be using a black colored cord to kind of tie it around the top. Reason why I'm using quartz and opal is because both of them have amplifying properties. So while it's on the moon jar filled with moon water, I feel like it's going to amplify those energies of the moon water even more, and I can't wait to use it on Samhain. Yay! So here what it looks like all the way around, has the little crystals, and onto the next thing. Alright, not everything needs to be updone or fixed or etched or designed in any way. I found this stand. I assume it's for candles. I'm not entirely sure, but it's this gorgeous brass heavy metal stand that I'm just going to be using as a candle holder. And same thing with this one. This one I'm pretty sure it's meant for candles. It doesn't look very old-fashioned-y, but I just loved the wrought iron work of it on the bottom and how it's on like a tripod stand. So I'm not doing anything to it other giving it a good clean, and well, those are some candle stands for me now. I found this other bottle that just looks absolutely beautiful. I love the floral designs on it. They're kind of like not really engraved, but they're part of the bottle itself. So I really didn't want to do any etchings or any designings on the bottle. I just think the bottle itself is gorgeous and has that little cork top. And that cork top has a ring attached to it, so it just gave me an inspiration to kind of attach something to that would implement or enhance the powers of whatever's in the bottle. This would also work great for a moon water jar and that type of thing. So I'm just working on the cords and strings. I'm going to tie it around that little brassy bit. I'm using brown to kind of match it alongside, and I feel like it gives it a little bit more of an earthy or neutral tone. And I'm going to be adding in some braids, some beads, and well, designing that top and giving it a little bit more pizzazz, so to speak. Here I am finishing the second braid, tying in the end bead, and that's going to be 2 braids, and the other 2 strings I'm going to use for quartz crystal beads to, again, amplify whatever energies are going to be stored inside that bottle. Now, all of these thrift flips, as much as I enjoy them, as much as I want to keep them all, I kind of am running out of room. So I'm going to post a couple of them on Etsy if you're curious to check them out. I'm going to have my shop link down below. I just absolutely love using my imagination and creativity and kind of creating something magical out of an ordinary object. So I'm just stringing in some clear quartz beads. Again, quartz has very amplifying properties, so if you do end up using it for a moon water bottle, it's gonna give it a little bit more oomph, a little bit more pizzazz as to whatever you're storing inside. I'm also going to be tying off those quartz beads, strings, sets with a little brass bead to kind of match with the earthy or neutral aesthetic of like the brass ring and the brown braids. And I feel like it came out fairly witchy looking, or maybe even like Viking-y. I don't know. Let me know what you think about this bottle. Alright, on to doing a second set of the quartz beads. As you can see, I'm finishing off with like a brass bead or like a brass coin looking thing, so it definitely gives me some of those Viking aesthetics. Finishing up the last end of that string of beads, so to speak. I'm not entirely sure what to call this chain of beads, decoration, whatever it is. This quartz crystal, I'm running out of words of what to call it, but I'm finishing off with that same brass bead, and the bottle is pretty much finished. I like the way it turned out. I think it's super cute, kind of complements the earthiness of the flowers, and the cork top make a perfect moon water bottle. Alright, next one is this cute little wooden bowl that I found. I love the color of it. I like the redness of it and kind of just how deep and dark it is. It seemed to me like this bowl was already handmade. On the back of it, it has someone's name on it, so somebody already put in a lot of energy and time into it, so it already has kind of like a little bit of a history, but this history feels warm and comforting, and somebody definitely made that bowl with love, so I feel fairly confident and comfortable of kind of reusing it and remaking it. I'm eating a lollipop at this point. If you saw the little stick, I didn't know it made it into the frame. Whoops. And the item that I used to trace out the star was one of the things in my shops. It's a 3D printed little triple goddess pentacle. Again, if you're curious, feel free to check it out with the link down below. I'm also creating a little sticky note template for the sides, that way I can kind of do a decoration all the way around the bowl, which is fairly symmetrical. And sticky notes I feel like are a great use for creating almost a stencil, I suppose, and I'm using it just to kind of design it all the way around and, well, make it kind of symmetrical. What I mean by kind of symmetrical is I want this bowl to look handmade, handcrafted. It's already slightly uneven on the edges because it was handcrafted before, so I'm not being super precise or detailed with painting it or drawing it or kind of creating it. I like the aesthetic of how it looks handmade and a little bit rustic, and that gold kind of trimming that I'm gonna end up putting on it is gonna give it a little bit more of like an older vibe. So I'm totally being almost haphazardly sloppy with it, but I just love the way it came out, and I just love the way it's looking, of it being slightly sloppy and messy and definitely handmade, and you could just feel the positive energies coming from it. Now, since the bowl was covered in a fairly thick lacquer and the paint wasn't sticking to it, especially since it's watercolor based paint, I ended up having to use the Dremel to kind of etch out the lines that I will be painting over, so it can set into the wood and it can stay on the bowl a little bit better. And I did the Dremel outside on the star, and I did the Dremel in like thinner bits all the way around. It took a ton of time, but I'm definitely happy with the result. Adding in those gold details. Now, this paint palette, every single time I use it, I rave about it, just how amazingly pigmented it is. It is the Calera gold paint set, whatever it is. Again, the link is down below in the description. I just love the vibrancy of it. I love the way that gold looks against this like reddish deep wooden bowl. And I just think it came out like in such nice complementing colors, and I'm just loving the way this bowl looks. I'm having a hard time deciding if I want to keep it or put it up on Etsy. I think I'm going to start off by putting it up on Etsy, and if nobody kind of gets it in like a month, then I won't mind keeping it. But here's the first portion of it. I'm gonna set it aside and dry, and I'm gonna work on it a little bit later. Next one. Oh, this is my pride and joy of a makeover. I am so thrilled with how this one came out with, like, in the end. Oh, I think it's a jewelry box or some kind of little storage box, whatever it is. It doesn't seem to be, too old and rustic or whatever. It seems very quaint, but I just saw it and I'm like, this will make a perfect crystal like storage. And I don't know if you've seen my previous video about the way that I normally store my crystals. This one, I want to put it above my altar since I can hang it up and kind of have the crystals that I work with fairly frequently, especially the towers or the points or the wands. And I love the mirror background of it for it to reflect those crystal energies back onto me. Pardon my very concentrated face of how I'm not really realizing that my reflection is there. Hello. My crafting times are the times where it's like a free-for-all, my hair is a disaster, there's no makeup on, and I'm probably in my husband's t-shirt. So I'm sorry you had to see my face, but I figured it'd be kind of funny just to leave it in frame. Now, the little green and florally details around the side, I kind of liked it, but I wasn't super in love with it. So I decided to give it a try of painting over it with a black acrylic paint. I have a little vision in my head of how I kind of want this to look. I'm definitely leaving that golden border around since a lot of my kind of craft tools have some gold essence in it. And I'm just liking just how much it's like deepening the outline of it. My camera ended up dying, so I don't have a lot of footage of me painting around it, but as you can see, I left like the golden trim outside and painted the rest of it in black. I also painted the back of the board just to give it one coat and kind of a bit of a protection-ish coat, and it just didn't like that white spot that it had. So, onto the next thing that I kind of tried for the first time is using vinyl with my Cricut cutter. I've never worked with vinyl before, and I'm really happy I didn't create a disaster. So I found an image on Google, and I kind of redid it a little bit so my Cricut cutter was able to cut it out. And it's a triple moon goddess symbol, or a triple moon, or a triple goddess symbol. Wow, words are hard. And it's covered in like beads and details and like so much intricate work. Whoever the artist was did a phenomenal job on it. And I'm sorry for sneaking your design, but I'm not selling this one and I'm keeping this one for myself. And I just wanted to share how beautifully detailed it is. If anybody knows the artist of this gorgeous triple moon drawing, artwork, whatever it is, tag them down below because they did an incredible amount of work. and I'm struggling with the vinyl to kind of take out the blank pieces or the pieces that aren't part of the design, and it was super time consuming, just like most of these upcycle projects are, but it's super satisfying to kind of see the design starting to come through and just look at those details. I love how it looks like there's beads and jewels and all those intricate little designs and tidbits. It's just stunning, and I'm super excited to incorporate it into my little thrift flip for the jewelry box, or now going to be my crystal storage box. Make sure you follow me on Instagram. I'm definitely going to be posting a couple stories of how it's going to be set up and all the little crystals in there. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. So excited about it. Alright, since that is done, I'm trying to see how exactly I want to place it. I decided to do it right in the center. That was kind of my original plan, but I still want to try them out before I fully place it. I ended up using 2 different plastics. I had this one lying around from when my husband ended up bringing it from work. I think it's from a computer screen or something, and outlining that. And then I had a harder plastic, a clear plastic, just to kind of give it a little bit more sturdiness. So for the rest of the edges, I'm taking the silver paint and doing tons of random splatters, dots, and splotches. And if you can kind of guess of what it might be, I'm doing like a galaxy theme around it between kind of like the golden edges, and I just loved the way that it came out. The silver with the gold. I'm so like sillily or stupidly proud of this little thrift flip. Adding in some details and designs, little planets, little spots, extra stars, and it's just looking so cute. And of course, you can't really be an artist working with paint if you don't get paint everywhere. It was all over my hands, it was all over my face, it was all over my shirt. I don't even know how it got on my face, to be honest, but I get so in the zone and in the moment of when I craft and create things that I totally kind of don't know what's going on with the rest of the world. So back to the little plastics, I used this little cutting board for the thinner one, and then I ended up using sheer force of will for the thicker plastic and kind of breaking it. Well, I ended up kind of etching aside so that I can break it. It was a struggle. It was definitely a struggle, and I almost shattered the whole entire thing. It was not the right plastic to kind of do this with, but it worked out. Don't look at the edges too closely because they're not perfect and they're going to be hidden anyways, right? So I'm using transfer tape for the vinyl to hopefully get it all on to the clear plastic piece in one piece without tearing and ripping. I am going super slowly, super steadily to make sure that it just stays all on the transfer paper, and thankfully it worked out. I must say, for the first time ever using transfer vinyl, I didn't do too bad of a job, and that design is just gorgeous. I love it so much. Making sure everything is stuck onto the plastic itself, and then again, slowly, super slowly, with lots of held breath moments, peeling it off so that it stays right on the plastic instead of on the transfer tape. But it worked out well, and I'm just in love with the design of it. So here's what it looks like with the clear plastic. The clear plastic is more of like the sturdiness for it, and I'm gonna end up putting that smokier or like, how to put it, more opaque plastic over it. So it ended up looking a little bit like stained glass or frosted glass. I think that's the right way to put it. And I can't stop talking of how much I really enjoy this thrift flip. I think it's one of my favorites that I've done throughout all my years, mainly because of that design. So here's that. and the struggle begins of inserting it in to there. Probably the smart way would have been to flip the pins up and out so that I can just lay it in and then press the pins in place. But you know, hindsight's 2020, and I didn't realize that till after I was done. So I was struggling with folding that plastic that was just not behaving and trying so hard not to snap it. But there's that. So I ended up having that vinyl design smushed, sandwiched between the two plastics. That way no dust or anything is going to get on it, and it's going to be protected a little bit more, because I don't really know the lifespan of this vinyl. I think it's fairly good, but well, we'll find out. So here is how that turned out. I'm just loving it so much. I'm going to clean off the mirror one more time. Again, do not pay too close of an attention to my crazy hair. Cleaning off the little shelves and pieces and placing them inside. I love how the wood is already painted like a glossy black, and the outline of it is a matte black. Here is kind of what it would look like hanging up with all the little crystal towers inside. I just love this one. So like I said, not everything found in a thrift store needs to be updone. I found this little bottle that was just super cute. I found these tongs that would make a great kind of charcoal placer, and onto something else that gets to be updone fairly simply. So I ended up using my Cricut cutter again for this one, and using vinyl again for this one. I probably should have started off with my trial run with vinyl on this simpler design, but I was just so excited about using that triple moon that I completely forgot that, you know, how much I could fail with it. But I'm glad everything worked out, and this is going to be like a simple jar of holding tea or holding my tea. Again, I can't decide if I want to keep this one or not. I'm going to put it up on Etsy. If it doesn't sell, I won't be too mad, and I'm going to end up using it for my own tea and magical brews. I love this jar, the fact that it has a airtight seal. I feel like it could have been a candle jar previously in its past life. Not entirely sure, but I just love how sturdy that seal is, so the teas inside will definitely last quite a while, and well, it came out pretty cute, and I just love how square and kind of like unique it is. So there's that. I'm placing the tea kind of logo right on the top. It had like a little circle inside it already, which again makes me think that it might have been a candle holder before, and it had a label on top of it, but somebody repurposed it, which is absolutely fine. But I'm glad I ended up finding that jar, and now it's gonna be a tea jar. Making sure it's all staying on there. Boom, nice and cute. And then on the side, I'm putting in a little saying that just says, brew up some magic, because any drinking tea can be turned into a little ritual, and I'm all for it. So let me know, are you a tea or a coffee person? And if you are a coffee person, do you like flavored coffees or do you like plain coffee? And if you're a tea person, what kind of tea is your favorite? Right now, I am totally obsessing with this tea that I got from Salem. I don't know the name of it, but it tastes like Girl Scout Thin Mint cookies, like that minty chocolatiness. The tea tastes almost exactly like it with no sugar added or anything like that. It is phenomenal. So there is that. Labels placed. I struggled a little bit with some of the letters, so I was just trying really hard to not have them come off. Right now they seem fairly sturdy on them. I don't know if you need to do anything else to vinyl. If you have experience working with transfer vinyl, let me know any tips that you suggest, please, because I can use any tips possible. But here is kind of what it looks like. That E was just giving me a hard time. Jar is done, and I feel like it's such a perfect little spot for tea. Yay! Alright, onto the bowl back again. So I wanted to do a gold kind of outline on the trim just to give it a little bit more pizzazz from the top view. The top view looks fairly simple and kind of, how do I put it? Harmless, so to speak, but the moment you flip it over and bam, it's full of magical prowess. Yes, no, maybe just being a little bit too dramatic. I like the gold trim around it, just gives it a little bit more of that old-fashioned aesthetic. Ah, love it. Maybe I won't put it up on Etsy, I haven't decided yet. Next up is this crystal chalice or goblet or wine glass. However you call it, it is definitely crystal because it has that like ringing noise when you flick it, and it has the little iridescence in its cracks when it's put up to the light. So I'm 100% sure that it's real crystal. Not to mention the dust from it tasted sweet, so it definitely has lead in it. Not that I went around licking the thing, but anyways, I decided to kind of add some runes to the bottom of the stem and add in some triple goddess symbol. I added the horned god symbol and a pentacle on the top portions of it with my Dremel. As you can see, I did the little outline with a Sharpie just to kind of have an outline of what the runes are going to be and where they're going to be, and I went in with my Dremel very carefully, very gently. Crystal is a very soft glass to work with, and went in and kind of etched out those pieces. Again, I like to etch the glass pieces that I know are going to be having liquids or fluids so it doesn't wipe off the paint or deal with any of it. And once I was done, just wipe it down with Windex. I end up using it to clean all my things. And the goblet is gone, and it would make a great either centerpiece or a ritual goblet, and it's just beautiful and stunning, heavy and hefty, and I just love it. You can use crystal chalices like that without any etching or any runes or anything. I mean, thrift stores have these on occasion, and well, I highly recommend for you to go find witchy things at thrift stores. Another thing that I won't be doing much to is this blanket that I found, which would make a great outdoorsy blanket for any sort of witchy rituals. It was hefty and thick. To be honest, I don't think it's a blanket. I think it's a tablecloth. But because it is that like tableclothy, very thick material, it would make great for like an outdoors thing. Alright, moving on to this bowl. I know this bowl was kind of on screen for a while. I just want to finish talking about the blanket. Again, it seemed like a handmade bowl. It had somebody else's name on the bottom of it, but the energies from it were already warm and filled with love, so I felt fairly confident and comfortable reusing it and kind of upcycling it or flipping it, so to speak, into a witchy-esque to add more love and more care to it. Now, what I wanted to do was add kind of a band of crystals around the bowl in that little divot portion of it, and I'm using fluorite and amethyst because those colors, the greens and the purples, just look so pretty together. Not to mention that amethyst is great for protection, intuition, healing, and inspiration, and fluorite is great for grounding, concentration, meditation, and also healing. So those two stones work great together. Added a little charm on the end, and I just tied it around the bowl center of it so it kind of like swivels around and moves around, and I just feel like those purple colors complement that light wood, and it just looks super pretty. What else I did was take a stencil, put it on the inside, and kind of traced around it or traced in it or filled it in however you describe using a stencil. And I used a oil-based metallic marker to give it a very silvery sheen of the design to kind of match the charm that I used for the beads. And I just feel like those two colors are going so well together, and this is kind of what it turns out like. It has such a beautiful metallic sheen. It's like I was drawing it with gold. I mean silver. This is like I was drawing it with liquid silver. Wow, okay. Precious metals, whatever. I then went in and kind of touched everything up, filled in some of those gaps and spaces, added in a couple extra details just to kind of fill out that side of the bowl, polished it off, and it was done. So here is kind of an array of all of my little thrift flips. Let me know what you guys think. Which one was your favorite? I love the last bowl that I did. I love this bowl. I love the little jewelry box to crystal. I'm kind of really liking all the things that I've upcycled this time around. Let me know if you want me to make more videos like this, because I love to flip thrift things regardless. It is so much fun. I just love bringing in some life to it, and it's a very inexpensive way to add to your witchy collection. So here is that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Don't forget to like, subscribe, the whole shebang, and I'll see you in the next video.